Yo, welcome back to another episode of Three the Hard Way. I am here, Tariq Rashad, with my boy.
Knicks on the road, John, baby. 2 wins in a row. Let's go.
He's gonna call him Headline John. and Married Man Rob via Zoom. What's up, Rob?
You already know, man. LA, best team in the league.
Y'all already switched over to basketball, huh?
We ain't gonna talk
That's
about
what's
that.
happening here. Y'all talking basketball, huh?
Hey, you don't talk about his 2 wins.
Right? But we're gonna start. We're gonna start in the NFL. A lot of good stuff today. We're gonna keep it precise. We're gonna jump right in to the NFL. Last week, the divisional round, 4 winners, 4 losers. Teams moving on are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buffalo Bills, and the
Green Bay Packers.
Thank you, Green Bay Packers. We're gonna start with talking about those 4 games and what teams have the biggest holes to fill of the teams that were eliminated. So in that case, we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the New Orleans Saints, and the Los Angeles Rams. So, where you guys want to start? I mean, I wouldn't mind starting. I wouldn't mind going last either. I'm definitely gonna talk about my Baltimore Ravens. Definitely at a crossroads there, and decisions need to be made. But I'll digress to one of you guys.
I'm gonna start off, and once again, Rodgers can't be right all the time, man. My favorite pick, my upset pick, the Los Angeles Rams. Essentially, when I look at them, man, they just need minor adjustments. They really have a very solid defense. That was evidence against the Packers, in which it was a pretty low-scoring game for Packers standards. So
which
what
I called out.
is really just some offensive line play. I think that'll help them out a lot. And other than that, I would like to see some linebackers that can make some plays. We've seen the secondary do their job. We also know what Aaron Donald is and what he's capable of, so you don't really need too much help up front. But really just solidifying that offensive line so Sean McVay can get a solid run game consistently, and then some playmaking linebackers, man. I think those 2 positions will really help the Rams out going forward.
Yeah, mine's is the Rams as well. I feel like for me, the question at play is the quarterback. Jared Goff, and it's not just me. Sean McVay said it himself. Jared Goff is the quarterback for now. So his play, how he plays consistently on a consistent basis, is going to dictate how the team goes, and we've seen that. Can he stay healthy? Number 1, will he be able to be consistent with his play? Number 2, he has 2 dynamic receivers with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. I do like Cam Akers in the backfield. He is a Florida State alum, and that's my squad. He played pretty well in the end of the season. The game before last, he ran for 130-something yards. So I think that he solidified his stakes, and they seem like they have a good core and some weapons that he has to go to. So can you produce? Can you get the ball to the players? And can you make plays? That is a question with Jared Goff. That's what it's been for the last 2 years. And next year will be the deciding factor. I believe that the heat is on Jared Goff, and we'll see.
I agree with you that the heat is on Jared Goff, but for what it's worth, I think Jared Goff had a great game. 3 weeks removed from thumb surgery. I know he was 18 for 20 at one point. And for what it's worth, the pieces that Rob said that they need, linebackers, that's not the position getting cooked last week. The superstar corner, my guy, Jalen Ramsey, Devontae Adams was looking great off the line, off the line of scrimmage. I watched 3 different plays where he killed them off route running. And for what it's worth, Aaron Donald wasn't really himself. He wasn't really a factor the way that he would want to be. And we all know that he was dealing with torn rib cartilage. So although I'm not a Jared Goff fan, I think he's better than some of the quarterbacks that are really suspect to me, like Mitch Trubisky. The situation over in Washington, but I don't know if the Rams are the biggest holes to fill type of team. I think they do have a few pieces that they can go with. I don't know. Jared Goff might be the gimmicky guy for Sean McVay, but I want to go over to my favorite team, and I would definitely think that Baltimore's at a crossroads right now. Decisions have to be made, and right now we're looking at a 4-year superstar quarterback already. Already in his first 4 years, superstar quarterback. Slayed the doubters, the naysayers, the haters, because he's supposed to just be a running back. I don't think a lot of people, even though he hasn't reached the pinnacle, I don't think a lot of people would say, yeah, this is going to be a 4-year straight playoff team leading quarterback. And right now, I think the decision has to be made as to whether we want, as a Ravens dynasty, if we want our franchise quarterback to follow what career trajectory. And do we want him to be a Mike Vick, a Cam Newton, maybe a Marcus Mariota? And do we want him to follow those trajectories, or do we want him to follow the trajectory of those of like Steve Young and Russell Wilson? I'll even say Donovan McNabb in that scenario, and since that Donovan McNabb went to 3 straight NFC Championship games, and he also went to a Super Bowl. He didn't win, but he was always right there. And the difference in those guys are the fact that the first group was masterminds with their legs, but they never really got the passing game down packed, the most essential part of the quarterback position. The other guys, Steve Young, Russell Wilson, they can kill you with their legs, but they also can stand back in the pocket and make something happen with their arm. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we let Lamar struggle, like Baker Mayfield struggled, like Ryan Tannehill struggled, like Josh Allen struggled. We can struggle and still go 10-6, but you have to open that offense up, because as a Raven fan, I look at it and I'm like, if we're down 2 touchdowns in the playoffs, we're in trouble. Our defense played 2 teams that that scored 50 points in Week 17 in the Bills and in Tennessee. Scored 50 points in Week 17. They held them both to 2 scores. But if all we have is a running game, and we'll always have a great running game, but if all we have is a running game, if we can't stand back in the pocket and give him some good receivers, start drafting receivers, start opening up the offense, let them struggle. Let them throw 13, 14 picks. A struggling season may be 10-6. Maybe we don't go far in the playoffs that first year, but we can go into it saying that Lamar Jackson has had to fight from behind before because he's made interceptions, he's made mistakes throwing the ball. But he's confident enough to do so. As a Raven fan, watching the Bills versus Raven game and the Cleveland versus Kansas City game, I felt more confident in Baker Mayfield being able to come back from behind than I did in Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson was short-lived because he got hurt, 2 to 3 plays later. But that shouldn't be the case. Sometimes, if you want to be that great, you got to look at somebody like Patrick Mahomes, who was down 24-0 last year in the playoffs. And still, you believe that he can come back because he has that arm. Now, granted, you may not be that great, but you need to be able to, the team needs to be able to come back from behind. So I think it's play calling.
So I don't want to say that. Is that personnel? Is that play calling? It's personnel
and play calling.
So
it's not necessarily Lamar.
I think that it's definitely like the sets that they run. They have a lot of sets where they can run play action, which is why Baker Mayfield is doing so great right now, because they have a great running game, which the Ravens also have, but they complement Baker's style, which is to roll out the pocket and throw the ball downfield. And I don't see a lot of that
and you
inside
can also see Baker spread the field out,
right,
and go back and say, you know what? These next couple of drives, we may need to throw 8 times and only run it 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an ability that he may be able to scare you with. Now, Lamar dropping back to actually drop back for passes, if you have receivers that are respectable, it's a lot of pressure on your front 7. Because if he gets loose, he's still Lamar Jackson. But you got to open up his game. If you don't open up his game, you're going to have, a 10-6 team that once you make it to the playoffs, your defense is going to have to carry you, or you're going to need Lamar Jackson to be Superman.
So are you saying that I need a new offensive coordinator? Or
I think we need a new offensive scheme. Before I go coordinator, I think the relationship between Lamar, I believe it's Greg Williams, is really strong. So I would say let's work on it during the offseason and get a new scheme. Maybe we draft a receiver or 2. And a receiver or 2 that can be an outside target. Put put Hollywood Brown in his natural position. Put Willie Snead in the slot, his natural position. You have a superstar to superstar tight end. You have running backs for days. You just lost Mark Andrews, that's $5 million. Go get a receiver. Not Mark Andrews, excuse me. Mark Ingram, that's $5 million. Go get a receiver. And open this offense up, and we'll be just as dangerous.
You're looking at a Stephon Diggs that you need for the Ravens.
Oh my.
The team a person that can open up.
But it's not just the player.
It's a play calling.
It's play calling as well. Yeah, Rob, you sit there quiet for a while.
Man, listen, man. I think I hear what you're saying as far as you want Lamar to progress in passing, but I think that's a Lamar thing as opposed to the scheme thing. There's been times where Lamar has been forced to throw the ball and like he just doesn't make the best throws. So I think like for my counter argument would be maybe he should take a play out of Michael Vick's book when he went to the Eagles. And, he was able to see the field a little bit more. And he was able to actually be a successful thrower as well as runner. But then again, Lamar is a different animal. And it's just going to be interesting. I would like to see y'all add a big body receiver. I know Allen Robinson just moved or was on the move. I would like to see y'all make a move for somebody like that. I think a nice, solid possession receiver would go really well with Lamar, especially because you guys do like to throw short. If you got somebody that is automatic on the slant routes, then I think that makes your offense that much more dangerous. Because then you can do an RPO to the slant and things of that nature. But I mean, I get what you're saying. You sound like a fan who just wants to see his team succeed. We might have a receiver for you in Atlanta. You come talk nice to him.
Which one you talking about?
Julio?
Who y'all giving up? All right, everybody on the market. We'll take Calvin in our heartbeat. Who, Calvin ain't going nowhere? Really can't go nowhere?
Julio, we might have to do him a little ring of honor and
wow.
tie his jersey and
how the show progresses.
How it progresses.
All right, guys. Who had the biggest win of the weekend? Before we move on to predicting what's happening this upcoming Sunday, quickly, who had the biggest win of the weekend for you guys?
For me, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost twice to the Saints convincingly during the regular season.
Punch.
Got punched. Rob was over here saying that Tom Brady was washed and can't get over the hump and they won't make the playoffs and all that stuff. And they proved valid points to why Rob felt that way. But to my point, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. And this game, in this game, he showed why he was the greatest quarterback of all time. Antonio Brown got hurt. Chris Godwin, he missed a wide open touchdown at the back of the end zone, placed in his hands. Mike Evans didn't have a great game. Gronk didn't have a good game, and somehow they pulled out the win. The last quarter, Brady scored 10 points, 14 points, and solidified the game. Found his ways to win. And to me, that was a big win for them because they beat the division champion. So. Kudos to the Bucs. Shout out to Drew Brees in retiring. I heard that he was playing with injury the whole season, a torn rotator cuff.
Mike Thomas?
No, Drew Brees.
Okay,
it's Drew Brees. Torn rotator cuffs, broken lung, and broken ribs, 11 broken ribs, and a collapsed lung he was playing with. So that can explain why the noodle arm, why he wasn't complaining about it. This is as per his wife.
I mean, we knew about that though. He missed games because of the ribs, and we all thought that he came back kind of early with that. I think Kansas City got the biggest win of the weekend, and of course we expected them to win, but the way they had to grab that win, the odds were definitely against them. I will say Cleveland did not do themselves any favors, not going for a 4th and 9 with under 5. I know it was under 5. It may have been under 4 minutes to go, but Cleveland punted the ball. But I will be the first to say, as soon as Chad Henne came in the game, I was all in the group chat like, yo, listen, it might be slow for Kansas City.
Yeah.
Baker might have a chance.
When he threw that interception, I was like, Henny's off the Henny.
Oh, man.
That first interception, bro, was bad.
Oh, man, that first interception. Tyreek back there somewhere. Tyreek back there somewhere. I know he's fast. But the way they showed the resiliency, I forget Williams. What's his first name? The running back. Not Derek Williams. The running back for Kansas City who was taking the load of the carries. Damian Williams? Darrell Williams. He put the team on his back in a couple of down the stretch. Him and Henne with those runs, they did with.
Don't forget the Ed Reed fourth down and 1, go for it to end the game.
Mm-hmm, that's what I'm saying. They showed team resiliency when their best player, the $450 million man, went down. And you expect them to be a different team, and they were. but they were able to hold ground, save face, and it's a credit to what we were talking about, what I was talking about earlier this season, that defense is a lot better. They still held the Browns to under 20 points, and it was a big win without the captain of their ship being there. Let's move on to
Rob.
I'm sorry, Rob. What's your biggest win of the weekend?
I just want to be on record and say, if you look back on last week's predictions, I had the Bucs winning. So yes, John, I did predict them to miss the playoffs and all that good stuff. But the last 2 weeks, I ain't predicted them to lose, and Tom Brady has stayed true to form. Let's put that there.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the biggest win for me this weekend would definitely be the Buffalo Bills. That was a very tough game just to be in. They held the Ravens 3 points. Me personally, I don't think their defense is amazing, but they are playing lights out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that was a huge win for them. They lost to the Ravens last year in the regular season, right? We thought they had similar styles of play, and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the boys really showed that, listen, we're here to play, and I think they rightfully deserve to be in the AFC Championship game, and I'm excited for this week. Hopefully Mahomes comes back, but the Bills is definitely my biggest win this week.
Yeah, shout out to Bills Mafia for donations over to Lamar's foundation, as well as a gritty win from them. I like the Bills all year, so sour but sweet to see the Bills go as far as they are this year. It's sour to see my team get taken out. Super Bowl predictions, guys. We got a couple minutes, not too much time, but Super Bowl predictions. What we got? Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Bucs, Chiefs.
I'm going to go a little bit longer than that. Aaron Rodgers is my only hope. I am a known Tom Brady hater. I will stand on that and on this show and put it on wax. Tom Brady, you have given me many nightmares, so I'm hoping that you can have a nightmare this Sunday and forget what it feels like to play in the cold against Lambeau. If Mahomes play, I'm going with the Chiefs. If he doesn't, I got Buffalo.
Earlier in the year when we first started up season 1, I believe we were week 1 or 2 or 3 in the season. Early in the season, I had the Chiefs, I had the Bucs. I'm gonna stick to it. I do like Buffalo this year. If Mahomes playing or not, I think the Bills is gonna come to the ball. Bills haven't lost a game since Hail Murray, and I think they're gonna be there to play. I think they'll give them even more of a game than Cleveland gave them, but I still think Mahomes is a dynasty best player waiting to happen. I'm definitely on that boat with Rob, with him being the best quarterback of all time in our own eyes. I was explaining to somebody, I feel like I'm watching my Jordan. Like, this is my NFL Jordan. What you saw in 84 and 85 and 86, and this guy's already got a championship. Like, this guy's already got Jordan had MVPs around that time, but this guy's already got a championship.
And an MVP.
You feel me? And an MVP. So I feel like I'm watching my Jordan while watching, the Birds and the Magics and the Isaiahs, come of age. The Breezes, the Bradys.
The Rodgers.
Phillip Rivers just retired. I think I said Drew Brees, but Aaron Rodgers. So Ben Roethlisberger. So I think I'm watching the great, so I'm gonna stick with him. And that's what we got for football.